Welcome, everyone. Right, so if you've been scrolling through social media lately, you have absolutely seen those slick, incredibly dynamic walking reels. You know the exact ones I'm talking about, right? They grab your attention literally instantly. The motion feels buttery smooth, and the cuts match the music so perfectly it almost feels like magic. Or, at least the work of some high-end production team. But actually, it's just a very specific, totally repeatable formula. In this explainer, we're going to break down the exact step-by-step process that top creators use to transform a totally plain, everyday walking clip into a highly engaging, viral masterpiece. We're going to unlock this entire workflow using two fantastic and completely free apps, VN and Vita.
Okay, let's dive into this chronological roadmap. First, setting up your project. Second, speed and beat syncing. Third, color grading your reel. And finally, number 4, adding trending Vita effects. Starting with Section 1, setting up your project, which is really the foundation of our layered transformation journey in the VN app.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why we have to start with audio. When you record a walking clip on your phone, you inevitably pick up just a ton of raw, distracting background noise. We're talking wind hitting the microphone, cars driving by, loud footsteps, maybe even your own heavy breathing. Now, think about the psychology of scrolling for a second. The exact moment a viewer hears that unpolished, messy noise, they instinctively swipe away. Audio is literally half of the video experience. So we need to instantly mute that noisy original sound and replace it with a trending track. Locking into a song that is already popular is basically a cheat code to capture immediate attention on social platforms.
So here is exactly how we start this off. First, just open the VN app and tap the plus button for a new project. Second, find and import your raw walking video. Third, and this is absolutely critical, hit that little speaker icon to mute your original audio. Just kill it completely. Finally, it's time to add your music. Go to the audio section, tap music, and pull from your library. Now, here is a massive pro shortcut for you. We've all done that thing where we hear an awesome track on our feed, forget to save it, and then spend literally an hour trying to hunt it down later. Don't do that. Whenever you hear a viral track, save it to your device right then and there and literally name the file trending. That way, when you're in VN, you just search the word trending and boom, you instantly pull up a curated list of all your best viral options.
Moving right along to Section 2, Speed and Beat Syncing, the Rhythm Challenge. This is the second layer where we start manipulating time.
Okay, a custom speed curve is going to be your absolute best friend here. See, instead of just slapping a generic slow motion effect over your entire video, which honestly gets boring incredibly fast, VN lets you manipulate time at very specific intervals. If you go into the speed menu and use the curve or custom tool, you can physically drag the speed points down right at the very beginning of your clip. What this does is create an instant dramatic slow motion hook for those crucial first few seconds, but then it returns the rest of your walking clip to a totally normal speed. It creates this fantastic visual dynamic that plays perfectly into short attention spans. But getting the speed right is only half the battle. We also have to match it to the music. So the crucial point is beat syncing. This is the secret sauce. It's the process of perfectly aligning all your video cuts and visual effects directly to the rhythmic hits or the beats of your background track. This right here is what makes a reel feel like a highly professional edit, tying the visuals and the audio together seamlessly.
And here is the micro workflow to achieve that perfect sync. Tap on your music track down in the VN timeline and select the Beats menu. Just play the audio and listen closely. Every single time you hear a strong hit or heavy bass drop, tap the little flag icon to mark that exact beat. Once your track is all marked up, hop back to your video timeline, move the playhead exactly to those little flag markers, and use the split tool on your video clip. Oh, one vital piece of advice though. If you notice two beats that are grouped incredibly close together, just ignore the first one. Seriously. Rapid fire cuts that are too close together just look messy and chaotic, so always give your viewers' eyes a tiny bit of breathing room.
Now let me share a massive time saver, the Apply to All FX trick. Okay, so your video is chopped out perfectly to the beat. Next, tap on one of those split clips and open up the FX menu. Choose a really dynamic effect, something like a cool camera shake. Reduce the duration of that effect so it triggers the instant the clip starts, and then just hit the Apply to All button. Boom! Every single cut in your entire video now has that snappy, energetic effect. But, and this is a big but, you must remember to go back to your very first intro clip and remove the effect from just that one. Why? Contrast. Keeping the very start of your video incredibly smooth and stable makes the actual beat drop and that sudden camera shake hit infinitely harder. Okay, so pause for a second. Your video is cut perfectly, it's synced to the music, it's got effects layered in, so why does it still look, well, kind of boring? The timing might be totally flawless, but if your raw footage still looks flat and lifeless, you are for sure gonna lose the viewer's attention.
Which brings us to Section 3, color grading your reel, the mood challenge. This is where we elevate the whole aesthetic.
Color grading is how we adjust the lighting, the contrast, and the color tones to completely transform the mood of the clip. Honestly, it's always surprising how raw smartphone footage just looks so gray and washed out compared to what our eyes actually see in the real world. Smartphone sensors just don't capture that depth and vibrancy perfectly right out of the gate. So we're going to dive into the filter and then adjust menus in VN to breathe all that life back into the footage.
Think of these exact settings as your personal visual cheat sheet. First, just bump up your exposure and brightness a tiny bit to fix any dark shadows. Next, increase that saturation and vibrance to really make the colors in your clothes and the background pop. Now here is a truly fantastic pro trick. Go over to the HSL menu, select the red and orange color channels, and specifically increase their lightness. This instantly gives skin tones this beautiful, healthy, glowing look. After that, decrease the overall temperature just slightly to add a cool cinematic blue tone, which is a super popular aesthetic right now. Finally, boost your sharpen and contrast to make the whole video look incredibly crisp and high definition. Once it looks perfect, just hit apply to all.
Let's move to and see how this builds our final product. But before we leave VN, we have to export this correctly. You might want to literally screenshot these essential settings. Choose the manual export mode. Set your resolution to 1080p, crank your frame rate to a buttery smooth 60 FPS, and set your average bitrate to around 50. This ensures absolute maximum quality. I mean, you just spent all this time perfectly syncing and grading this footage. You definitely do not want to compress all your hard work into a pixelated mess. Once that's safely exported, we are ready for the final layer of magic.
And that brings us to our final step, Section 4, adding trending VIDA effects, the viral edge.
First things first, open up the VIDA app. And before you do literally anything else, go straight into the settings menu and turn off the VIDA watermark. You want your reel looking 100% professional and native to whatever platform you're posting on. A watermark ruins that instantly. With that done, start a new project and import that beautifully polished video you just exported from VN.
Now it's time to build that viral intro. Head over to the Effects menu in VIDA. You're looking for an effect called Figure Blur, or sometimes Halo Blur. Select Figure Blur, and in the little adjustment settings, change the shape to a circle. Now here is a vital tip. Drop the default filter that comes attached to that blur all the way down to 0. If you don't, that default filter will overwrite and completely ruin that gorgeous color grading you just spent all that time perfecting. Finally, drag the duration of this blur effect on your timeline so it ends the exact millisecond your very first music beat hits.
But we are not stopping there. We are going to layer these effects. Go back into the menu and find a really dynamic flash or shake effect. Stack this directly on top of your initial blur, and again, make sure the duration lasts only until that first big music beat. Stacking a blur with a shake right at the very beginning mimics the editing style of high-budget music videos. It brings this intense, big-budget suspense right to a smartphone edit. It literally forces the viewer to freeze their scrolling just to see what happens when all that tension breaks.
Now what's really interesting about this slide is the final polish. VIDA has this specific effects section labeled Hot. Inside there, you're going to find these incredible AI body tracking effects, like one called Flash Ad. These effects actually use AI to track your body as you walk, adding dynamic, glowing outlines or crazy background flashes that make you pop entirely out from the background. Apply one of these sparingly right after that first beat drops for just maximum visual impact.
One really quick note before you finish up. When you're layering all these intense, heavy effects in VIDA, the live preview on your screen might look a little laggy or choppy while you're editing. Do not panic. That lag will completely disappear once you hit that final export button and save it to